Hi everybody, this is Anna Keys from Little Bay Stampin', and today I'm here with a video for AllFreeChristmasCrafts.com. I'm going to show you today how to make these stamped vellum embellished candle holders. These are the things that you will need to complete this project. I have a glass container. This had a candle in it that I used up and I'm going to be reusing it. You want to make sure that the sides are as straight as possible. This one does have some slight taper to it and I'll show you how I'm going to deal with that. But if at all possible, you want the sides to be straight up and down. I am using some stamps and some ink pads, a piece of vellum, and some sort of super sticky tape. This is, this one happens to be by American Crafts. You can use score tape, you can use red liner tape, sticky strip, whatever kind of super strong tape you prefer. The first thing you need to do is measure your container, and I just took a ruler and kind of eyeballed where I wanted it, where I wanted my strip of vellum to start and end, to be in the middle of my container. And for this one in particular, I chose 2 3/4 inches, so it's going to go on like that. Then what you want to do is, this is how you can kind of counteract if your container has slightly tapered sides. What I'm going to do is center it so that it's straight across the top and the bottom. And just go ahead and wrap it around tightly. And you can see now my taper is coming into play here. See, that doesn't look very good. But I just want it centered top to bottom and as straight across the front as I can get it. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I just took a pencil and I drew a little tick mark to where it just overlaps, and then I also drew a line across here so I know that I can cut that piece off and it will be straight across the front. And then we're going to hide where it starts to be not straight in the back. And now we're going to go ahead and stamp on our vellum. I'm using these 2 ornament stamps and I have red and green ink. And I'm just going to randomly stamp these images all over my vellum. I'm stamping some off the page slightly. Maybe one more up here. So that's why I have the scratch paper behind my vellum, so I can stamp off the edges. I should point out here that I'm using dye ink. When you're stamping on vellum, you want to use either a dye ink or a solvent ink like StazOn. A pigment ink is not really going to dry properly on vellum. And you want to use as much of a smooth up and down motion as you can when you're stamping, because the ink is more likely to smudge on such a smooth surface. And I think I need one more red ornament right here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take my stamped piece here and I want to set it aside and make sure that it has ample time to dry. If you do not let this dry thoroughly, it will smudge on the smooth vellum surface. So if you have a heat gun that has a low setting, you can use your heat gun to speed up the drying time, or just let it air dry, I would say for at least an hour. Once your stamped piece of vellum has dried completely, all we need to do is put together our candle holder. So again, I'm taking my super strong tape here and I'm just going to put a little piece along both ends. And then I'm going to take off the tape backing. And I'll bring my container back in, my little candle holder. And I'm going to put this across the front so that it's got the amount of the border on the top and the bottom that I like. And it looks straight across the top and the bottom. Holding that in place level across the front, I'm going to push it around to the back and push that tape into the glass. Then I'll do the same thing, try to make sure it's level right across the front. Okay. And wrap it tightly around and push the tape on the back. Now you can see on the back that does not look very good, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to cover that up with ribbon. But on the front, it's pretty close to being level across the top and the bottom. So now I'm going to take my sticky tape again, and I'm going to find the front where that is level. I'm just going to prop that up a little bit with my scissor. Okay, so that is where I work to make it level. And I'm going to take my tape. I'm going to take a pretty big piece. I can always trim it down. And I'm going to go right across that seam, again keeping this border straight across the top. And now I'm just going to take my tape and go around, keeping the same amount of clear plain glass at the top as much as I can. And there's a little bit hanging over here. That's where I was supposed to trim it off there. So let's just trim that down a little bit. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, keeping the same amount of glass border, and it should come out, it's pretty close to being even, so that means I got it about the same level all the way around. That's close enough for me. And now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So you can see the back doesn't look so great, but nobody's really going to see that. If you put this, if your sides are not perfectly straight, if they're tapered a little bit, you are going to want to put this, you know, on a shelf or a mantle or something like that so that nobody can see the back. You wouldn't want to put this as a centerpiece on your table, for example. And if you do want to do that, you need to make sure that you have a vessel that has completely straight, not tapered sides. So that is all set, and now we just need to put some ribbon over top of this tape. And I have a piece of this green stitched ribbon, and this coordinates with the green ink that I chose. And I'm going to start on the bottom and just peel the backing off of the tape all the way around. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky. But I'm just going to lay that down. Let's see where the front is. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start on the front. And I just want to make sure that that tape is covered. Again, leaving the same amount of border on the glass all the way around. You want to make sure that the ribbon ends meet in the back. So what I'm going to do is trim that off. Press it down, and then I'm going to cut this a little bit longer than it needs to be. And then I can continue to bring this around. line that up in the back. Then I'm going to put a little piece of my tape on the back of the ribbon. Cut that at an angle. Okay. And now I can go ahead and overlap the ends of my ribbon, just like that. And now you can see here that there is some space here. If you are using a tapered glass and you want to avoid that, you can certainly use a thicker ribbon. But from the front, you really can't tell. And you can see from the front how nice that looks. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing at the top. And now you can see we have this really pretty stamped vellum candle holder. And again, see the back doesn't look so pretty, but that's because I chose this particular candle holder that does have tapered sides. I would highly recommend when you're trying to do this project that you find one that does not have tapered sides. But as you can see, it looks really nice from the front. And if you put this on a bookshelf or on your mantle, no one will even be able to tell that it doesn't look quite so nice on the back. Here's another example that I made using the same technique. This is using a recycled jelly jar, and you can see I just tied the ribbon around the top of the jar. In this picture, you can see what these candles look like when they're burning in a little bit of a darker room. The taller of the two candles in this picture was actually made out of a juice glass from the dollar store, and I just used the very same technique on that one as well. So thanks for joining me for this video today, and remember that you can check out this project and lots of other great holiday projects at AllFreeChristmasCrafts.com. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.